Today we are going to take a review, or in other words, I can say that we are going to take an overview of Benazir first term. The Benazir first term remained from 1988 to 1990. This was almost a 2-year period. This was a democratic period, and this period, or this government, was welcomed by the people with jubilant, with open heart, with happiness. But this government could not remain a calm period, a peaceful period, and a successful period. So we will take an overview of this. This was welcomed, and this was considered as a jubilant, since this was the return of party politics and democracy in the country. And this period was a troublesome, not a peaceful period because of multiple reasons. The two major reasons were: first, the People's Party had no clear plan for this for the government, and there were certain elements from other sides, for example from President House, which created troubles to the People's Party government in this period. This period was marked by jubilant in the beginning, but had no practical plans for public. They had no plans. They didn't know what they want to do for people. Although the period was considered as a jubilant period because it was the return of party politics, it was the return of democracy in the country after a decade-long regime of military government. Once again democracy was returned in the country, so this period was marked by jubilant, but they had no plan for public. Their all plans, their all policies revolved around two things. The first thing, which was most dominated, was gaining the public sympathy. They were just going, when they were going to people, they were just saying that we faced this trouble, we faced that trouble, we had to pass through with such trauma, with agony, and they had nothing else to say. They had nothing to say that we will give you this or we will give you that. Or if they will go a step further, they were saying that we did this in 1970s when Zulfikar Ali Bhutto was the Prime Minister. We gave you the constitution, we gave you this, we gave you that, what we will give you now. They had nothing to say on this, and they were just trying to capture public sympathy by repeating the misdeeds or the unfortunes they had to face during the military rule. And the other thing they were trying to do was blessing for the party workers. The party workers had suffered, no doubt they have suffered for the party for during a decade-long period of military regime which was purely hostile to their government. So if something was given to the party worker, no doubt it was good, but doesn't mean that everything should be open to them and they should become dictators once again in civilian dress. So their government was failed because of this reason as well. So if you will in nutshell, if you will see, the government was marked by jubilant. The start of the government was marked by jubilant, but had no plan. They were just trying to gain public sympathy, and they were blessing the party workers only. Just coming to the power, Benazir used Article number 45 to pardon, give pardon to the criminals who were given death sentences. She announced that their punishment would be reduced to the life imprisonment using Article number 45. Now this creates some constitutional questions as well. As far as the orders given by the military court was justifiable, that she could say that those orders were given by the military courts and the fair trial was not done there, so this could be their punishment could be reduced. But what about the civil courts? What about the orders that were given by civil courts? Reminiscent the monarchical period, when the monarch was giving sympathies or clemency to imprisoners, to the prisoners, when he ascended to the throne, as a mark of celebration for becoming the king or queen. And the other thing was that whether the government has the right to give clemency to a culprit who was charged of murder, since according to the Islam, giving clemency to a murderer is the right belong to the victims. It's not the government who can give clemency. It is the victim who can give the clemency, or the family of the victim who had the legal right to give clemency, whether government can give this or not. So this creates some sort of repugnant, we will not say repugnant, but some sort of repugnant to the Article 2A of the Constitution, which says that all laws in the country should be Islamic, and Islam give the right of clemency to only to the family of victim, not to the government, not to any another body. It is the family of the victim which is the competent authority to give clemency to a criminal of murder. So how government can give this? This was challenged in Lahore High Court. Lahore High Court upheld this plea and ordered the ordinance as null and void. The government appealed in Supreme Court. Supreme Court reversed this order and said that the court is not the competent authority to make amendments in the Constitution. If court feel that if there's something which is not according to the Islam, then court may ask Parliament to make amendments accordingly, because it is the Parliament which is the only competent authority to make amendments in the Constitution. No other body other than the Parliament can make any amendment in the Constitution. So the order of Lahore High Court was reversed, and the clemency was given to different criminals who were under or who were behind the bars. The second thing that we can see in this period was they don't had control on foreign policy. The foreign minister Sahibzada Yaqub was not a member of People's Party, and he had to retain, the People's Party was compelled to retain the office under Sahibzada Yaqub, who was not a member of People's Party. This gave this totally finished the People's Party's control over the foreign policy. And especially if you will see to the Afghan policy, their Afghan policy was totally failed. So they had no control on the foreign policy. And we cannot ignore the dent by Asif Ali Zardari. Asif Ali Zardari and his family did lot of things in this period which were not suitable, or which defamed the People's Party's government. There were corruption charges and kickbacks charges on Asif Ali Zardari, although it was difficult to prove those charges, but yet still the rumors were there, and so many people believe that those rumors are correct. And the other party workers also did dent to the political to the People's Party. So many party members were thinking that they could not remain for long in government, so let's do whatever we want to do in this short period, and they try to gather or to collect wealth from government resources, and this give dent to the People's Party. And last but not least, the most important one was the dispute with the president. The People's Party had disputes with the president since its beginning. There were disputes on the division of powers between president and prime minister according to the article number 94. And the most important was the conflict or the dispute on two major issues, that was the appointments to the superior courts and the appointments to the military officials under different clauses in the constitution. So the dispute with the president was the most troublesome for the People's Party government in this period, and this dispute with president became responsible for the dissolution of National Assembly in 1990 and the dismissal of Benazir Bhutto government. When the assembly was dissolved in People's Party's government was dismissed by the then President Ghulam Ishaq Khan using Article number 58 2B, it was challenged in court. The decision at that time, whatsoever was or whatever the proceedings happened at that time, we are not going to say anything at that time. We will discuss that on in another lecture. But that's an interesting thing about that. In 2012, the Superior Court gave a verdict that dismissal of the government in 1990 was unconstitutional. Thank you for joining. Take care. Goodbye.